Every year I host a live webinar where I give tips and tricks on how to pass the CFE. And here I'll talk about the structure of the CFE so you have a good knowledge of the exam before you watch my webinars. The Common Final Exam, or the CFE, is the last exam of CPA Canada's PEP program. About 7% of students writing the CFE are making their way through the PEP modules, and 30% are international trade accountants or students who've taken masters and are just challenged the exam. CFE is made up of 3 days of continuous examination. We call this day 1, day 2, and day 3. Day 1 is 4 hours, day 2 is 5 hours, and day 3 is 4 hours. The whole exam is like a triathlon. Day 1 is the warm-up, day 2 is the marathon, and day 3 is the sprint. You'll soon see why we call them this way. Day 1 doesn't have a lot of technicals. You get only one comprehensive case, which is based on the same exact company that came up in Capstone 1. They'll take the same exact company, move it forward by 3 or 4 years, and give you new problems to solve. It's meant to test your case writing skills, which CPA Canada calls enabling competencies. There are not a lot of technicals, but it does test you on management accounting and finance. The strategy to passing day 1 is to follow the CPA Way format and to avoid fatal flaws. The CPA Way format is assess the situation, analyze major issues, conclude, and communicate. This means you should start your case with a situation analysis. Situation analysis includes the mission, vision, values, SWOT, key success factors, and so on. Then move on to analyzing major issues, and then conclude. Fatal flaws means not providing useful quant or qual analysis, making unsupported conclusions, providing generic discussion, and not providing a balanced analysis. You also need to learn how to integrate. Integration, or sometimes called tying, means connecting the first part of the case, which is called situation analysis framework, to the rest of your memo. For example, if you have a threat in your SWOT that the government will increase taxes in Eastern Canada, you can write in your analysis that if the company opens the new branch in the Western provinces, then it will mitigate the threat of the potential tax increase. What I did there is integrate the situation analysis SWOT factor into my analysis of major issues. I made a detailed video on how to integrate, which I'll link up here in a corner. The third strategy is to study management accounting and finance. Net present value, return on investment, contribution margin, make or buy, valuation, and so on. These questions come up on day 1 over and over. I have detailed lessons on how to tackle these quants with templates and step-by-step walkthroughs in my CFE review program, which I'll link in the description below. Day 2 is a brand new comprehensive case. It is a very, very long case. It is 5 hours and it has 2 parts. The first part is called the common and the second part is a role. The common part is the same for everybody in Canada. Everybody tackles the same issues. It is only financial reporting and/or management accounting questions. The role is based on a specific area that you choose. You have 4 options: assurance, PM, tax, or finance. You choose your role when you register for the CFE, and you must ignore all other roles and just write about your role. Most students choose the role that they took as an elective, and for most people, it's assurance. Even if you've never worked in assurance, it's recommended to take that as your role because it has fewer technicals compared to the others. The second most common one is PM, then finance, and lastly tax. If you're thinking of opening your practice and doing taxes or audits, there are specific requirements for licensing and what your role you must choose for the CFE. So make sure to check with your province's licensing requirements before you finalize your role. The strategy for the day 2 is to pace yourself. It's the depth day, which means you gotta go in details and analyze the questions very thoroughly. Day 2 has 12 to 14 AOs. AO, or assessment opportunity, are the specific topics or questions that come up on a case. Remember that you have to write in depth, so you should expect to write 12 to 14 pages, which is very challenging. This is why you have to pace yourself. I suggest spending 1 hour reading the case, 2 hours on a common area, and 2 hours on your role. The second strategy is to aim for C. For every AO, your grade will be either an A, NC, RC, C, or CD. I'll talk about the passing profile in just a moment, but the way CFE is marked, you must get mostly C's in day 2 to pass. Day 3 has 3 or 4 multi-competency cases, and you're going to get questions on every topic: financial reporting, management accounting, audit, tax, finance, and governance. For this reason, it's called the breadth day, because you have a big breadth of topics to tackle. You'll get 5 to 8 AOs per case, and it'll be 18 to 22 AOs in total. The problem with day 3 is the time crunch. You're writing 3 different cases on the 3rd day when you're extremely tired and you get hit with every kind of question. The strategy for day 3 is to move quickly and touch on everything. Go as fast as you can and aim for RC. It's better to get RC and hit all AOs as opposed to get Cs and leave some AOs blank. The second strategy is to budget your time. When I'm coaching students and marking their cases, I see the same problem. The first 2 day 3 cases are done really well, then the third one is almost blank. because the student kept borrowing from the next case and the next case, and when they got to the case 3, there was no time left. It's important that you write how many minutes you're going to spend on each specific AO and stick to your time budget. You can now see why I called these days the way I did. You warm up on day 1 because there aren't a lot of technicals, you run a marathon in day 2 because you have to go into depth, and you sprint in day 3 because you're moving quickly and rushing to get all AOs done. So how do you pass the CFE? Day 1 and days 2 and 3 are graded separately. You may pass day 1 but fail at days 2 and 3, or vice versa. If you fail one part, you have to retake only that part. Day 1 is graded holistically, which means they're checking if you've done the specific things you're required to do. Did you follow the CPA way? Did you integrate well enough? Did you provide a useful qual and quant? And did you provide balanced analysis and support a conclusion? If you do all of this, you will pass day 1. For days 2 and 3, there's a passing profile that CPA Canada publishes. A lot of students find it confusing, so let me explain it in an easier way. The only thing I want you to get from this table are the 4 levels. Level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's the same table that we're looking at. To pass CFE days 2 and 3, you have to pass 4 levels. The first level is called the sufficiency level. It means the sum of all C's and RC's you got across days 2 and 3. They're going to take every candidate who's written this exam and they're going to add up all the C's and RC's they got in days 2 and 3. For example, C may be worth 6 points, RC will be 3 points, NC and NA will be 0 points. They're going to list everybody, add up their score, and pass a certain threshold. This threshold is determined every year by the Board of Examiners depending on some factors. How well everybody did, how many CPAs are needed in the market, and so on. If you don't clear level 1, then you automatically fail CFE days 2 and 3. For level 1 only, if you fail, you don't get a decile ranking. The decile ranking shows how close or far you were from passing level 1. Decile 1 means you were close, decile 10 means you were far. This decile ranking is meant to help you decide if you should appeal the exam, but since the appeals have only 1% chance of success, I generally don't recommend appealing at all. To pass level 1, you have to make sure you hit C's and RC as much as possible. Passing through level 1 is just the first challenge though. Once you go through level 1, there are 3 more levels to go through. Level 2 is the depth level. In this depth level, you should hit C's in FR or MA. This level checks how good you are in FR or MA because those are the core competencies in the CPA program. The goal is to get 3 to 5 C's in FR or MA. This number changes every year depending on how well everybody did, but generally this is a good guideline. Even though both days 2 and 3 count towards level 2, it's a good strategy to do really good in FR or MA in day 2 because day 3 is so time crunched, you won't get the same chance to get C's. Now the third level, this is your roll level. In here they're counting how many C's you got only on your roll, only on day 2. This means you'll have only day 2 to do a great job on your roll, and that's a problem. If you do a horrible job in your roll in day 2 and you think you'll catch up on day 3, it's not going to work that way. Only day 2 counts towards level 3. This means you should really focus on getting C's in your roll in day 2 because you only have one chance to pass this level. By the way, if you fail at level 3, it doesn't matter if you pass levels 1 and 2, you're automatically going to fail CFE days 2 and 3. Fourth level, it's very important to do well pretty much everywhere. It's like the control level. It's there to check if you skipped any competencies. For example, if you don't like finance and you want to completely skip it in the entire exam and do a good job everywhere else, it doesn't work that way. The reason is that you have to get RC at least once or twice in every area. FR, MA, tax, finance, assurance, and governance. Though students do fail at level 4, it's rare. If you've gotten through levels 1, 2, and 3, that means you've got a lot of C's and RC's everywhere. So if you haven't skipped anything, then you should be okay. Let's look at the pass rates. Right now, we're at about 76% pass rate, and if I were to compare this to the CFA or the US CPA, the pass rates there are about 50 to 60%. When I was studying for my CFE, I was looking at the pass rate and I was thinking, if 76% of writers pass, there's a really good chance that I'll pass too. So it gave me both comfort and confidence. Even though the passing percentage is so high, over and over thousands of students don't pass the CFE. The reasons are that they don't understand the structure of the exam, what strategies to use, they have weak technicals, they don't practice enough cases, they don't get enough cases marked, or they don't get one-on-one support. All these resources are available in my CFE coaching program called CFE Review, the on-roll method of passing the CFE. It is the only CPA coaching program in Canada that has been featured in the national news, and about 90% of my students pass the CFE using my program on their first attempt. You get detailed case marking, supplemental practice cases, technical drills, templates, memory aids, personalized coaching with me, and much, much more. Head over to GevorgCPA.com to learn more, and I'll see you next time.